Welcome all, this is Madan. Today I am going to show you how we can add external logins to our MVC application, such as login using Facebook or Google. So here I have created a simple plain MVC ASP.NET Core MVC project with individual authentication, and the project is creating, and I am using Visual Studio. So our project has created. Let's start the project, and I'm starting the project from the command prompt using .NET Watch Run. And our application has started. So this is just a basic template. It doesn't contain anything, just the scaffolded project. And in this project we are going to add the external logins. So in order to add external authentication, we need to add few dependencies to our project. So let's add few dependencies that we need, and the dependencies that we need is microsoft.aspnetcore.authentication.google for Google authentication, and microsoft.asp.NET Core.authentication.facebook for Facebook authentication. So we have successfully added the project dependencies that we need to add external logins to our MVC application. Now we are going to make a small change to our startup.cs file, and let's go to the startup.cs. And here, in order to add external authentication, we need to use the service called services.add-authentication, and from that we can get .add Facebook and .add Google. And in order to add those authentication, we need to obtain the API key from the Google and Facebook. So now let's first obtain the API key from the Google, and for that we need to go to the console.developers.google.com, and then we need to log in using the email address to register for the API. So now from here we can go over to the credentials and click on the credential. From that we need to create a new project, and you can give any name to your project, and just give a name to the project and hit on the create button. So it's taking some time here, and now you can click on OAuth consent screen on the left side of the screen, and then just click on create. From there we need to give a name to our application, and we don't need to fill up any other fields. Just hit save button, and now we can go over to the credentials again and then create our credential for external Google login. So we can click on the plus create credential buttons and OAuth ID, and then click on web application. From there we need to give authorized redirect URLs, that is the URL of our application. So our application is running on localhost, so we can give https localhost:5001, and then we need to add one last piece here, sign in dash Google. In case of Facebook, we'll add sign in dash Facebook to our URL. After that we can save our information, and it will give us the client ID and client secret, so we can use those information in our application. Now let's open a package manager console from the tools and package manager, and we are going to store our credentials into the user secret. So let's create a user secret. At first we need to initialize the user secret, and if you don't know about the user secret, then I have a video about user secrets, and you can find that video from the playlist. So we are going to add the Google client ID as if Google client ID in the user secret. Now let's add a Google client secret. So let's copy it from there and put it on the user secret on our application. And now let's also store the client secret into the user secret using app Google client secret as a key. And we have successfully stored our application credential into the app secret. And if your application.cs proj file has been changed, then you need to save that, otherwise it will give error when you try to use .add google option in your startup.cs file. So on the startup.cs we can pass the application credentials. So in order to use Google authentication, we can pass options.client ID as a and store and provide Google client ID that is stored in our app secret or the secret manager, and we are also need to pass the client secret to the add Google option. Now this adds Google authentication to our project, and next we are going to create our application. We are going to create the application in the Facebook to add Facebook authentication. So you can go over to the developers.facebook.com and give the display name of your app there, and then click on create. And we just need to confirm that we are not a robot. Of course we are not. And from there we can use Facebook login app and then click on setup. And from there we can go over to the Facebook login section and setting, and then same like Google, we need to give it a redirect URL, that is the URL of our application or the project, which is localhost colon 5001, and we need to add sign in dash Facebook. This tells our application where to go after it has successfully logged in using the Facebook. And in order to obtain the application API key, you can head over to the settings on the left hand side and then click on basic, and here you can see app ID and app secret. Now we repeat the same process that we did in case of Google authentication. So we are going to set app ID and app secrets or the client ID and client secret into our secret manager. So this is the same process that we did before. We need to bring in both app ID and app secret. So now let's add Facebook authentication from the startup. So we are going to call the API add Facebook, and then in the option we are going to pass the Facebook app ID and the client secret. So in case of the Facebook, we have the options .app id, and then we are fetching the app id from our secret manager. And client secret. So we have successfully configured our application to log in using Facebook and Google, and you can go through the similar steps for adding other login providers such as Twitter or Microsoft or GitHub. So now let's check our application, and now you can see two buttons here, Google and Facebook. Now I'm going to log in using Google first. So log in and then click on Google. From here you need to log in using your Google account, by using which you want to log into our MVC application. If you see this, then click on apply migration and then refresh, and you are set. And it says that we need to confirm the registration first, but we can change that setting from the startup. So here in the startup line 33, we can see that sign in dot require confirmed account equals to true, which was set initially. Now let's make that to false and try again and see if our Google login works or not. And as you can see, we have successfully logged in to our local application using the Google. Now let's try it for the Facebook as well. Log in and then click on Facebook, and it has redirected to the Facebook page. Now click on continue as, and we are successfully logged in using the Facebook. So in this way we can use external login providers in our application. So this is it for now, friends, and if you are new to this channel, then please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you and have a great day.